Watt has tied Michael Strahan's single-season record.
Oh, no.
In the air to right. This is deep. And he did it again. Jack Suwinski wins it for the Pirates. 3 home runs in a game.
Welcome to a live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studio right in the municipal building in Bethel Park. Thank you for watching us on Comcast 7. Or no, sorry, that's my usual habit. After 11 years plus, Comcast 21 only in Bethel Park, and even PCTV with Smokin' Jim Frazier. He'll be there tomorrow night on Steel City Sports World. What time do you start, Smokin'?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, Comcast 21, but you won't be able to watch them. We have Verizon 32 in Bethel Park, and all the way from Nemacolin to Cranberry, Wexford, and all the points in between. And on our Facebook page, I saw some numbers there, Nick. I can't confirm it, but it was like 6,978 likes. So we're getting close again to that 7K. It's magical to me because we almost hit it, and then they wiped it out. Now they just go by followers, but they're back to likes. So we appreciate you watching the show. And we do our normal promos, but I got to do a special one. Nobody's on camera to do this, so I'm going to hold this up, Rowan, and I guess you can pull in close on that if you can. We'll have to see. Yeah, all right. Jono's Art Studio, right at the top of 18th Street in Mount Oliver. It's a colorful building. They have their 9 days of Artathon from June 3rd to the 11th. Every day, 10 in the morning till 6 p.m. My co-host, co-producer, Maria's Ideas teaches art. She's there with all her paintings and jewelry. She repurposes jewelry. They have plenty of things from little presents to you name it. Jono and them, Maria does murals, 10, 20-foot walls. She just did Saris's murals. Everybody loves Saris Candy in Cannonsburg. When you see the murals, Maria's done it. Jono's his art is on Saris Candy boxes. And he just had, what did he do? He had a Steeler painting that he did is in this, in the Pirates. He did a pirate painting that's being there at PNC Park. So check out all his art. He even has, you can't see this, but he did a painting of Art Sr., and it's in the Hall of Fame. So imagine that. He does all kind of art. So that's what I have to say. You can call them. They're at 1705 Arlington Avenue. It's a colorful building. One last try. Rowan, if you can go a close-up on here, you'll see their building. Let me get a shot right there. So there's a little delay. All right, you can see it. You know where to go. And we're going to go do our promos right now with Rowan in the control room. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Strikers. I worked there for 36 years. My former union, CWA PPMWS 14842, Pittsburgh Local Mailers Union number 22, is on strike. Even though health care benefits were secured for workers by the union, Post-Gazette management cut them out without the union's approval and still expected workers to show up without any coverage. Please cancel your Post-Gazette subscriptions online or in print. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Union Strikers. Frank Fanera, owner of Olive Oil's Pizzeria in the Hillcrest Shopping Center on Route 88. Call them at 412-831-1900. Every Tuesday night, Olive Oil's Pizzeria provides the host and the amazing volunteer crew with an XL pepperoni pizza and a full steak hoagie. They are delicious. Olive Oils is proud to support Pittsburgh Sportsline and the volunteers at BPTV. Stay Joey Strong. Joey Fabus died at 8 years old of brain cancer known as DIPG. Since then, the family has come together with community members to create the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit. Since being founded, they've raised over $100,000. Go to jfccf.org to learn more about DIPG, to help spread awareness, and to see how else you can support and donate towards the fight against this dreaded brain cancer. Always Be Smiling, a 501c3 designed to help children and families in need of kidney transplants. The B stands for Bennett, whose memory is embedded in this organization by his parents, Kristen and Dean. Despite the challenges he faced in his 16 and a half years of life, Bennett always had a smile on his face and spread kindness to everyone he could. Now, Always Be Smiling wants to pass on that kindness. Go to alwaysbesmiling.org to learn more and see how you can support or donate to this organization. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. I'm Al Levine, trustee on the board of this great organization. The BPCF focuses on raising money to provide scholarships, grants, endowments, and more. Grant requests are available online from $100 to $5,000. You can also attend fundraisers or donate. Go to bpcf.org to get more information and to stay up to date on upcoming events. The Bethel Park Community Foundation, focusing community resources, building for the future. The Bethel Park Historical Society is a 501c3 that serves Bethel Park. The Historical Society operates out of the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, located at 2600 South Park Road. Look for the red and white trolley right out front. Reginald's Coffee is inside, and I've heard it's the best coffee around. To visit this great historical venue, email historicalsocietybp@gmail.com.
And now this message from BPTV.
Alas, poor talking machine. I knew him well. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy?
Dave, I'm not dead. I'm still doing Pittsburgh Sportsline every Tuesday night and many other weekly shows on BPTV.
That's great, Al, but then who's this?
I don't know, but we must leave right now. Let's go. Help save Pittsburgh police officer Jeffrey Crawford. Jeffrey is in need of a kidney donation. He's in stage 5 renal failure and he's on dialysis 3 times a week. He needs this kidney ASAP. To contact the UPMC donor registry, call 412-647-4438 or go to livingdonorreg.upmc.com. And to help spread awareness, use the hashtag #BlessJeff on socials. Let's come together to support Pittsburgh policeman Jeffrey Crawford in his time of need. Alex Reed is in need of a kidney. 2 weeks after college graduation, Alex's kidneys failed. A gracious donor gave Alex 7 years of life, but now he needs another kidney. To learn more about becoming a donor for Alex, call 830-285-2140 or go to kidneysolutions.org. Zhang Taekwondo just opened a new location in the South Hills, along with its location in Wexford and its inclusion in the curriculum of Provident Charter School in Troy Hill. Zhang uses Taekwondo to teach its students confidence and self-discipline through physical fitness. Zhang is offering a 4-week special. You get a uniform and lessons for $30. If you mention the Talking Machine, Smokin' Jim, or VIP Nick, they'll give you a further discount. For more information, go to zangtkd.com or call 724-934-9264. Hey, Pete Kasich watching, Paul Haley watching now on Facebook. Looks good on our end. Thank you. Peggy and Nick, my roadie friends in Rochester. How are you doing? Thanks for being loyal watching. Ralph Williams, hello, guys. Charlene Thomas is watching. Thank you. Our man Randall Bogart talking about the white cornerback. Jim Guns is watching. And we're going to do What's on Your Mind, Smokin' Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green,
The first time ever.
you got to see Levine. Oh, over the shoulder catch.
Throw it back.
Go. Don't drop it, Deontay.
I got it. I left it in the car with all those new promos. Here's the only one I did. My pen's in the car. Nobody reminded me. I had to get that pizza and hoagie in here.
Well, we got to say congratulations to, hey, bro. We got to say congratulations to a friend of the show. Ralph Williams just signed a multi-year contract to be on the radio. So congratulations,
Congratulations, Ralph.
Continued
Good job.
Success.
Good luck to you.
And in a little sadder note, well, not sadder note, congratulations to, you deserve credit to Shaler High School, WPIL champs. They knocked off Bethel Park. But my understanding
You're a week late.
But my understanding
You're a week late.
is
That's old news.
that they had a foreign exchange student from Venezuela that pitched. And is Bethel able to go to the States, PIAA?
I don't
Even though
think.
they lost to the WPIL? Because
I'm not
sometimes
sure.
you can still go.
I'm not sure. You
into
know,
the
they were
States.
back-to-back champs that we
Back to
filmed
back,
that last
man.
year.
Yeah,
5A champs,
congratulations.
first ever.
My favorite team.
I got to make an announcement since you're bringing that up.
Yeah.
I get a call from Billy Lanero, Tony
That's my
Lanero's
man. Yeah,
cousin.
I know Billy.
He calls up and he goes, "Hey Al, can you put the AA champion Seton LaSalle baseball team with my son
Yeah, his son can
DiMaggio?"
play.
Well, yeah. Guess who's coming next Tuesday at 6 o'clock? I'm going to do a half-hour show. Seton LaSalle champs. I don't care who you are. I like the champs. Do a half-hour show from 6:15 to 6:45. Luckily, you'll miss Smokin' Jim Frazier. He comes in at 6:58. But that's what we're doing next Tuesday pre-show.
But
His
I'm
son's
glad.
name is DiMaggio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a
can
great, he set records just this year.
play. Just like his dad. Chip off the
Interesting.
old
You'll
block
find
with
out in
his
a
daddy.
minute.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm glad you said that,
Mr.
Ella.
Coffee.
People think it's scripted, so they're really going to think this show is scripted now. On a sad note, tomorrow will be the last Steel City Sports World after 25 years.
23
doing-
years.
Steel City Sports World.
That's what Luther on LinkedIn celebrated that.
23 years?
I just said
23.
congrats.
Oh, I didn't know. Well, I'm 2 years off.
Well, Smokin' Jim told me I know more.
Well, you never let the facts deter you.
Smokin' Jim said I know more about him and black people than anybody
That
else
is
he
true.
knows.
Thank you.
So I stumped him again. On LinkedIn, I'm friends with him. Said 23 years at Steel City Sports World.
Well, it's over.
Whoa, that is
So,
sad.
and-
What are
and-
you going to do on
and-
Wednesday nights
And
then?
some of these guys have been on there, like Chipper had a nice appearance on Steel City Sports World.
Yes, I
know
did.
that,
Grateful
Nick-
to you and
Nick had
Luther
a,
for having me on.
Was you ever on Steel City Sports World? Yeah,
I was.
Nick was on. I remember that. And I don't know if you've ever been on.
You know
Sure.
the answer.
You had me on there back in 2013.
Yeah, talking
the last
baseball
time the
with
Pirates were in
Claudio,
first
yeah.
place.
So hey, it's the end of an era.
Hold it,
was a
mate.
lot of
I
fun.
may have had a Ralph Williams connection.
Yeah. That's right.
So I
Yeah,
have to
think that
stand
was Steel
corrected.
City, yeah.
I got invited by Ralph Williams to represent BPTV.
What made Luther decide to hang it up?
Listen to what's going on there at BCTV.
Well, I don't want to put out the dirty laundry.
No, it's
but,
the truth.
Huh?
It's the truth.
Well, he's one black man that's not up for embezzlement. so that's it.
Wait,
that's good.
Wait a
Hold
minute.
it.
Wait a minute.
Hey, Chip.
He's clean. Luther is clean.
Say that
I
word.
don't want that rumor out there.
Say that word. Say that word again.
Hold it.
Say that word again.
We're so far off the rails. Chip.
Embezzlement?
Here's,
That's what's on my mind.
here's the answer. PCTV's having financial trouble because they let guys like Smoking Jim produce shows. So now they have to charge $50 a show, but a minimum of $100 to do your shows. And the producers don't want to pay the money there, so Ralph's going to do his show on the radio with Smoking Jim every Tuesday night, 5 to 6. So he may be even later.
No, I'm gonna do it from the car.
Oh, okay. Thanks for clarifying that.
But there's one producer.
You have a hard
There's
enough
one
time.
producer that'll still be producing on PCTV, and that's me.
Yeah, because you write your own paycheck, right?
Well,
You have a hard enough time getting from point A to point B when you got your full attention.
Well-
How the heck are you going to do that?
well, here's to all of our fans out there. I'm going to ask them a
I'm
question.
teaching Ro the right way to do things.
No, you're not. Rowan, don't listen to
Text
him.
and drive.
Let me explain. I'm going to ask him one serious question that he won't answer.
Oh, my goodness.
Everybody has to pay a minimum of $100 to do 2 shows. What are you paying?
Well,
Okay, we'll go to the next subject. He couldn't say 100. All right, Chip, what's on your mind?
Okay. Well, it's good to be back this week. You know, we went through a pretty hot month of April, and the Pirates were one of the best teams in Major League Baseball. And then they kind of drove the bus off the cliff a little bit in the month of May. And, you know,
Smoking Jim smoke about that.
and don't worry, Jim. It's a long baseball season. I'm sure you'll have plenty of chances to ridicule them before the end of the year. But that being said, what happened in the month of May is something that I think is going to truly help the Pittsburgh Pirates become a better baseball team moving forward. We've started off the month of June very well. And I always say it's not how you face success that really shows your mettle. It's how you face adversity. And as
I
much
couldn't
adversity-
agree with you more. And look what happened in June.
Well, and look what happened. But you know what? June's only 5 days old. Okay, today's June 6th, 79 years
I'm
ago.
not going to interrupt what I'm
D-Day.
talking about, but first place in June, I'll talk about that.
Yeah, well, you know what? Nobody had Pittsburgh Pirates being in first place.
I agree.
On June 6th at any point. But you know, it's fun to watch a plan come into place. Ben Cherington honestly does know what he's doing when he goes to evaluate talent, draft talent, develop talent, and bring them up to the major league
and
major
trade for
leagues
talent, right?
when they are ready. Okay, and there's been a lot of clamor for some players that are in the minors right now to be fast tracked up into the majors, and they will get here when it's their time. One of the things that I heard Ben Cherington talking about this weekend is that every single player in their minor league system has specific goals that he's working on,
Wow.
certain things that he needs to improve on to be able to move
the
to the
pros.
next level.
Yeah.
So when they're ready to be here, they'll be here. And I've heard nothing but criticism of Austin Hedges because he's only batting, what is it, 170, Nick?
Something like that, but I don't pay attention to
That's
that.
his boy.
I don't pay attention
That's
to
his
that.
boy.
You know, but here's what the thing is. You know, Austin Hedges is doing exactly what the Pittsburgh Pirates brought him here to do and are paying him to do. And if anybody thinks that they're surprised at his batting average at this point this year, his career batting average is 189. He wasn't brought here for his bat. He was
Explain
brought
that
there-
to Smoking Jim.
He was
He
brought
don't
here to
understand.
manage the pitching staff and for his defensive prowess. And you know, so far he's doing his job. We got a couple of prospects that aren't ready for prime time yet. And I am a very firm believer in trusting the process. You know, I think that Derek Shelton has created a great environment for young baseball players to thrive. They're making a lot of mistakes, and a lot of people complain because, well, I was taught not to do that in Little League. But you know what? Every one of us who have ever played the game of baseball, you excluded because you didn't play. We've played
I was
the game
going to
of
do a
baseball.
disclaimer. Thanks, Chip.
We've made mistakes. We made errors when we shouldn't have.
We learned.
We sat there and looked at strike three when it was straight down the middle of the plate. I mean, these are things that just happen, and it's all part of a learning process. I said at the beginning of the year, this year, that the Pirates team was going to be better than last year. I didn't say any kind of win total, and I'm still not going to hold them to one now. I will tell you this, the next close to 4 months are going to be a lot of fun to follow the Pirates, and I'm going to sit back and enjoy the ride. That's what's on my mind.
Thank you, Chip. And no questions from Smoking Jim because he's not paying for his studio time. He might be embezzling somebody else's money.
Oh.
Hey,
Oh,
I'm writing 3 months worth of checks, so I've been long time before I get caught.
Those are Goodyear
Happy
checks.
Christmas, yeah.
The Goodyear
Yeah,
checks.
happy
The ones that
Christmas.
bounce. The ones that bounce.
all right. We got to move on. Ralph, you're welcome for the shout out. Paul Haley, 6-game winning streak now, first place Buccos. So
Absolutely.
we appreciate it.
Lots of fun.
All right, Nick, VIP Callis. He had a struggle to start the show. Smoking Jim wasn't here, and we had all kind of technological difficulties, but we're on air, and we're doing everything live streaming thanks to Nick VIP.
And he's on the 1s and the 2s and the 3s and the 4s. He's got it all going on.
And he's seating in the co-host seat. What's on your mind?
Well, I will say this, just like the Pirates, we struggled in May, but we're going to finish June strong. With the show. We're going to finish the show strong. Anyway, I also noticed you're wearing a Philadelphia Phillies hat that's blacked out, and I can confidently say that when I think of Philadelphia, and when I think of hats that have been made, I've never seen a hat like that, and you're the only one I would think, because you're like, oh, it matches my jacket, right? Interesting. Baseball guy. All right. Anyway, Kyle.
Called it non-baseball guy.
Exactly, because he's wearing. Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
was a sarcastic comment.
Yes, all three of us.
A blacked out Phillies hat. Interesting. Interesting choice.
They're against. But that was a free one.
Wasn't that the Pirates logo from the 70s? No. Anyway.
That was free, so carry on.
Sports. Yeah, so Kyle Dubas got hired, and I like it. I like the hiring so far, and here I'll tell you why. Because unlike Ron Hextall, I listened to a lot of Ron Hextall, and I've never listened to so little come out of somebody's mouth at one time. So Kyle Dubas, I mean, he's addressing reporters in his press conference by name. Like Dave, John, all these people. Like, hey, yeah,
I can't mention the name that I heard an interview with. That I'll talk about.
But I'm I'm a guy. So here I am, and here's my initial plan. Now we can judge him later more harshly, whenever he actually has to make decisions and operate the team as he was hired to do. But as of right now, I enjoy the fact that he's saying words, unlike Ron Hextall. So that good first impression, and first impressions I think matter. So right now, good first impression from Kyle Dubas. It makes me look forward to seeing how the Penguins are going to maneuver their situation as the offseason continues. The Pirates. Austin Hedges is not going anywhere, and I can say that confidently. I know Andy Rodriguez is still in AAA. I know Henry Davis just got called up, but Chip pretty much just laid out the whole groundwork for that. Hedges is my guy. Don't care what he's batting. If you didn't see the magic between him and Johan Oviedo after Oviedo struck out that batter, I think it was after the 7th inning, Oviedo screaming like he does, like, I'm great. And then they go back to the dugout, and they're kind of hugging, they're smiling, and that's what Austin Hedges is there to do. Those are the kind of things that I don't think you can make tangible, because the pitching staff likes him, and that has to matter. And I understand that because I was both a pitcher and catcher throughout points of my not major league career. But still, I think that it matters, and if the pitching staff likes him, then guess what? I mean, he's going to stay. He also kind of played hero in that game. Now, it is the 12-1 Oakland Athletics, but Austin Hedges played hero multiple times, getting on base, scoring the tying run when the right fielder lost his mind and threw it to third instead of home to try to contest the tying run from scoring. Hedges also got a hit that moved G1 Bay from first to third, and then that was when McCutchen hit the sacrifice fly that ended up being the game winner. So Austin Hedges making an impact. He ain't going anywhere, and I'm happy about that. And then one more thing. The Pirates struggled in May. They're coming into June. They are like 3 wins away from winning as many games as they did in June, and they're riding with like a 7-game winning streak now.
Wow. 6 game.
Is it 6 game? Yeah. Okay, sorry, 6 games.
You're sleep deprived.
I'm ahead of
They haven't
the
won
game.
the game yet tonight.
I'm ahead of the game. Yeah, I don't want to get too. Yeah, I don't want to get too into it. But McCutchen said some things yesterday too post game that I want to touch on later, but I just enjoy what the team's about right now. I'm still sticking to those 84 wins. Al's still going to owe me a quarter at the end of the season. But yeah, no, it's a good vibe right now.
You said 84.
It wasn't. I did say 84. But yeah, we bet on a quarter.
Yeah, but you said 84.
I did say 84. And I'm sticking to it. That's my point.
No,
so
I was emphasizing.
very good. That's the
I
Pirates.
can take it.
Not necessarily last night wasn't a great feel for me though overall, because struggling against a team that has 12 wins is not very inspiring. But overall,
Paul Haley said 12-50 for him.
right, yep, 12 wins, right? So there you go. They're not good.
You're spot on now, Nick.
They're not good. They're bad. They're very bad. So yeah, not an inspiring win yesterday, but I still got a good vibe around this team, and it's nice to know that they're staying above water and they're in first place right now. But I will touch on that more later, and I will touch on some McCutcheon comments later. That's what's on my mind.
Great tease, great comments. Chip?
Just to speak to your Austin Hedges thing, Pirates pitching staff in the National League rated number 3 in team ERA on their starting pitchers, behind the Dodgers and behind the Atlanta Braves and the San Diego Padres. So Hedges
They
is
spent
doing
money, though.
He's doing the job that they're
yeah,
paying him to do. He's managing the pitching staff, and I think one of the strengths of our team is the pitching staff this year, not just the starting pitching, but the bullpen as well.
Last year it was the opposite. We had all bullpen until they got tired. No, it's great to hear that. Claudio Rosano, thanks for watching the show and tuning in. We appreciate you. Check out his shows out there. I can't spell his name. Smoking Jim can barely pronounce it, but Claudio Rosano,
That's my man.
he does a lot of great interviewing out there on his podcast. Randall Bogart makes a comment. I think he's trying to be funny. LOL. These guys cheering. Oh, it just came up.
Put that cat there.
Yeah. These guys cheering for the Pirates are like the speech Custer gave his men. LOL. Glad I'm in Florida. We have some younger people that don't know about the yellow-haired Custer who got massacred by Sitting Bull. So that's in the history books, and we've tested a couple people, and they failed on that. So we'll move on with that. Nick, thank you for your comments and everything. What's on my mind? I got a couple things. My son Drew says hi to Nick every time, and
Hi, Drew.
we're watching this runner on first base get a tremendous lead, and he's flying down. He's leading in stolen bases, Ruiz or something.
Yes.
Hedges comes out, threw a dart to second base,
Wow.
nailed him when he had a great lead.
Wow.
So all the naysayers, Nick, I concur. You called that the beginning of the year.
He's saying a while like you didn't watch it because you probably didn't.
He didn't.
You probably
He didn't watch it. No, but that was a great play. In the game, when you have two teams that are struggling with many things, like I'll just share 10 walks, 2 wild pitches, and we win a game with 6 hits.
Let's not lose sight of the fact that one game last week, the Pirates struck out 17 times
Yeah.
in one game.
Smoking Jim would have brought that up, but he's
But,
in,
I mean,
he's in Philly right
We
now.
run the full gamut, but that was in May.
Yeah. Well, that was a bad month, and we have streaks. And like I've told people for years in my life and on the show, there's a reason it's 162 games, and Chip will fill in the blanks.
A 162-game season will expose your flaws as a team. You can't. The pretenders don't end up grabbing the golden ring at the end of the season. You know.
Thanks for being my straight man. You covered that. Paul Haley, Florida Panthers are getting massacred by the Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah. I watched the 7-2 loss they had. Can you spell defense for Florida, Paul? And I got to talk about a station Nick's not allowed to by where he works, the Fan. I listen to Mark Madden for years. Usually it's 10, 15 minutes, and see, I have to ignore him because he's actually trying to be funny.
I don't know who that is.
Bingo. Didn't I tell you the Fan told him to be that way?
So, just to get back to your comment about the NHL, it was bound to happen. The Florida was going to fall off because Bobrovsky, Bobrovsky?
Yeah.
Bobrovsky, he's doing his typical playoff meltdown, and he waited till the finals to do it this year.
Yeah, but I think he's having some help. I've never seen a defense, Paul just told me none. They have none. their players are trying to block the shots, and guess what they're doing? They're screening Bobrovsky. So he can't see some of the shots, and it's outrageous. But I got to get to Penguin hockey. I was listening to this show that we can't talk about. Well, we can talk about it in front of Nick Madden. And in March, he brought up about a GM from Toronto who had his handcuffs on, and he's an analytical guy, and he doesn't just go by analytical. Dobos, this Kyle, and he goes, the Penguins should hire him. Well, I hate to give Madden credit because
don't.
well, I appreciate that was very quick, but here's the credit I give him. He was right before anybody else. Then, he likes to brag and talk about his 160 IQ. I don't know if it's ever registered, but he goes, I'm doing the first interview with Kyle Dobos, and he did it yesterday, and it was a great interview. One thing Madden knows is hockey. Yes. He's followed it his whole life. A lot of his shtick there, I heard he's actually a nicer guy than he acts towards people by hanging up on them and being arrogant. And he truly is arrogant on air, if you heard him. And I know you haven't.
Never heard him.
I know. Well, a little bird told me he's heard of you.
Really?
Yeah, you can't acknowledge it, but some bird told me that on Twitter he knows who you are.
Well, that's exciting. Oh, well, I don't know who he is.
This straight act will continue. I don't want to get him in trouble with his employment.
Maybe you can make me friends with Kyle Dubas then.
Well, I know people that can talk to his people for me, so I could definitely get you in there a face-to-face confrontation.
Confrontation?
Yeah, that's what he is.
Why would I want to be confrontational with Kyle Dubas?
Well, because you want Mark Madden to get that connection.
Because he traded
from
Sidney
him.
Crosby.
Yeah. All right, so the interview was very good. Here, Kyle was a hockey player, and he quit playing hockey because, like Smoking Jim quit playing because of a supposed knee injury. Well, he has CTE. Wow. Well, Kyle, he had multiple concussions, so he stopped being that. He became an agent. Then he became in management. He's only 37 years old. He's well-spoken. He mentioned Mark's name each time he talked to him, thanked him for being on the show, and Mark asked him questions, what he was going to do. And he explained he has a core that he believes in, and he's going to try to get, the bottom two lines to improve through either free agency or the amount of cap space, which is around $20 million right now.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah.
The Penguins have $20 million.
Right, and they got
right
that
now.
Gramelin or whatever. There's $4 million there, and if they buy him out, it may only cost $2 million, I heard. So there's some flexibility, like when you need to cut Smoking Jim loose from the negativity, we do that. So he was talking about that with their plans forward, and Mark, who Nick doesn't know, kept asking him questions. Well, what are you going to do about the fourth line? He goes, well, I have to study more to see how our personnel is because I've only heard about it and I've only been here a couple weeks. And he goes, I fell in love with the team that took me around the city, and my wife and I decided to live here in our city because they both liked it and it's closer to his wife's family. So you got that stuff going with him. So it was a good interview. I'm glad I could put it out there to tell you. To me, his first impression, like Nick got on Kyle, I got the same thing from him, that he will deal with analytics, but he does have the information on hockey and how they play, being a player and being a coach's son. So he does have insights there. So we're going to come back in 10 seconds with Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. Now I know Chip gets up at 4:30 in the morning.
4 a.m.
What time do you get up, Nick?
3 in the morning.
3 in the morning.
He's still up.
And I tell you what, when I'm on my way home at 5 o'clock in the morning, I've been tuning Nick in. I'm so proud of you, man. I've been texting him, man. He's been on fire at 5 a.m. But hey, Al Levine, the talking machine.
Yes.
I tell you what, in 1933, Pittsburgh Steelers had their first black player by the name of Ray Kemp, famous out of Washington, PA, Fort Cherry High School.
Wasn't that when they were founded?
Maybe. And then the NFL, Al Levine, the talking machine, banned black players from 1933 to 1946. A guy by the name of Washington, and we know all black people in Washington was signed to play for the Rams in 1946. But Al Levine, the talking machine, that was 1 year before Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in baseball in 1947. But something else happened.
You've been reading.
Else happened.
Did he chop down the cherry tree?
He close. Something else happened. Al Levine, the talking machine,
What?
in 1946. Westinghouse High School won the championship, undefeated team. Bill Nunn was the point guard. Ed Fleming, the coach from Wilkinsburg, and Robert Moore's legendary coach, was a forward. And the star of the team, All-State All-American, Chuck Cooper. And everybody talks about why I'm a Boston Celtic fan. In 1950, the first black player ever in NBA history was that Westinghouse Bulldog, Chuck Cooper. But there was 3 that went in that got drafted that year. He was the first.
But he wasn't the first to play.
Earl Lloyd
Was the
first to play. And
I've heard this story
I did a
over the
2-page
years.
interview on Earl Lloyd and Al Levine, the
Is
talking
that when
machine.
you were a writer for the New Pittsburgh Courier?
Yes, and
you had a dictionary there?
Yeah, there you go. And there's a movie out on Nate Sweetwater Clifford, who was the first to sign an NBA contract. So 1950 was a historic year for black players in the NBA, especially the first ever to be drafted, Chuck Cooper. And we're friends with his son
Yes, we are.
out of Westinghouse High School.
He's doing great
Congratulations.
things at Duquesne there.
Go
yeah.
He's been
Celtics.
immortalized
Go
on
Celtics.
the campus of Duquesne University.
Pardon me?
He's been immortalized on the campus
Yeah.
of Duquesne
Yeah,
University.
they named the arena after him,
They
right?
even have, yeah.
Did they build a new arena or just name the old one after him?
I
Yes.
believe they built a new one.
Yes. That'll help Smoking. Just answer yes. He's not really looking for an answer. And I want to share this with all of our fans out there. During Black History Month is the only time Smoking Jim talks about black people. We just had something happen for the first time. This is my birthday month, and he talked about black people today. And he's a well-known black man in the community. So I just wanted to share that out there, that anybody's allowed to speak.
Ain't no blacks in my community.
Wait, he is? I hadn't noticed.
All right. Mark Rohde says, hi, guys. Miss you. Marco, hope you feel better. We heard you got injured.
No.
Yeah, your uncle told us. We'll tell Smoking Jim afterwards.
Oh,
He's
man.
very emotional. He might start crying.
Oh,
He'll be okay.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So we'll be fine. And Pete knows some history. I don't want to bore the fans that want more sports, but, Custer got massacred, so, with 210 guys. But that was what Pete was saying.
Yeah.
We're history guys.
Yeah,
Same with Chip.
that was before the Pirates were in existence.
Yeah, a couple years.
Okay.
Yeah, and Chip, I did some research. You like this? I always like trivia, and I wondered about baseball hats. When were they made? Like Smoking Jim got a cheap knockoff, but they. Oh, did I say that? I was just thinking it was. Sorry. They invented them in 1849,
Okay.
and it was with the Knickerbockers in New York. So that's a little history when they first came out with the baseball hat with the style like that.
It's the same year Waynesburg was established.
Really?
Waynesburg College, yeah, 1849.
wow.
What a year.
We got synchronicity here. All right, let's go. Since we're talking trivia, we need trivia time in 10 seconds with Chip Hayner.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. A little trivia for you tonight. And interestingly enough, Alan was talking about Billy.
DiMaggio.
Yeah. So I happened to want to talk to you about Joe DiMaggio this evening.
Wow.
And the reason I wanted to talk about him, and I had been thinking about this for a while last time I was here, it had slipped my mind. But right now we are in the period of time where Joe DiMaggio was in his 56-game hitting streak.
Mr. Coffee.
Exactly.
Mr. Coffee.
56-game hitting streak
You heard me say that.
started on May 15th, 1941, and it lasted until July 16th. His batting average during the course of the streak was .408.
Wow.
And, you know, the reason I bring that up is because 1941 was really, truly an amazing year in Major League Baseball. It was the last year anybody batted .400 for the season. And you would think that if somebody batted .400 for the season, that they would be a lock to be the MVP.
Yes, sir.
And unfortunately, Ted Williams was
The
not the MVP that
The
year.
Splendid Splinter didn't make it.
And that's the difference between playing in Boston and playing in the
New York.
into the media capital of the world, New York City. But you know, what got me thinking about this evening is that there is somebody that is playing for, I believe, the Miami Marlins right now, whose season batting average before tonight's game started was at .399.
Wow.
Now, is that sustainable? You know, Alan and I were talking about
Who'd we mention?
players that we watched as when we were younger men that made a run at .400. George Brett being one. I believe
Yeah.
George Brett finished at it was either .380 or .388. I think it was in 1980. George Brett was just he was one of my favorite ball players at the time.
Mine too, Chip.
And Tony Gwynn took a couple of runs at it himself, who won
Pine tar.
eight batting titles himself. You know, but you know, will that record ever be broken of another major league player
No.
batting .400?
I know the answer. The answer is no, because to heck with all the people who play now.
Very good, Nick.
R.I.P.
Very, very good, Nick. But you know, the same thing I say could be said for the 56-game hitting streak.
Yeah.
You know, with the specialization of pitchers, and you know what would happen back in 1941, a pitcher would be out there, he'd pitch 9 innings, 12 innings, 18 innings, he'd throw 250, 300 pitches. You know, so by after the third or fourth or fifth time you saw a pitcher, you sooner or later you were going to have a better chance. Now, you know, you see a pitcher.
Specialized batters.
You see a pitcher twice maybe in a game, and you know you've got people who are throwing from different angles, different speeds, different spin rates on the ball. You're seeing lefties, you're seeing righties.
One hit a game should be easy.
Now, how come it hasn't been done since
You
1941?
You tell me.
I know
I'll
the
tell you
answer.
why. Because Pete
Okay.
Rose stinks.
No, well,
Nick.
Smoking Jim, how about this? You ever think of this reality? Let's say a batter strikes out his first plate appearance, but he's been hot, and the other team doesn't want to pitch to him, so they walk him the next 2 or 3 times. That happened to Bryce Harper one game, I remember. Didn't get a hit,
Barry
but
Bonds.
might have had an at bat, right? So that still ends the hitting streak if you get an at bat in a game. So
He
Barry
didn't know
Bonds.
that.
Happened to Barry
so
Bonds.
many variables, Smoking. Too many
So
variables.
many variables, but you know, just a shout out. We'll we'll make note of the end of the streak come July 16th. But
Yes.
it was an amazing feat in the game of baseball, almost like Cy Young's 512 wins.
Oh, yeah.
Something that will never be attained by anybody else
They won't even pitch that amount of games.
in their career.
Yeah. Except for Vida Blue at the end there.
Can we answer? You guys are baseball guys. Who had the second longest hitting streak? I can't remember.
Nobody we know.
That's right. You know,
Nobody that will ever get in the Hall of
second
Fame.
longest.
Somebody that's never going to be in the Hall of Fame.
44 for Pete Rose.
Yeah, he
Right.
won't ever get in the
For
Hall
that
of Fame.
degenerate
The number
gambler.
38 comes to mind, but that
Huh?
might be coming out of
Pete,
nowhere.
Let
Rose 44.
Let me interrupt you. Randall Bogart said Gunn's dad played
Oh,
with
Pete
Cooper,
Rose.
and they were good friends. Yeah, he was leading you on. Gunn's
didn't
dad
know.
played with Cooper.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what he said. And then Chief is watching. Michael Mariano's watching. Randall Bogart came back. He goes, right, because in January 1942, everyone went to war after Pearl Harbor. Great point. 41 was a lot of these baseball players played. Then a lot of them, like Ted Williams, went and flew
Yeah,
jets.
you're right.
He was a bomber.
Jets.
Or
He
airplanes, yeah.
he flew jets in Korea.
Yeah.
He went to war twice.
I know. I read about it. Yeah, that slipped out. Yeah.
He went to war twice.
World War
I didn't know
II
that. I
and
knew
Korea.
about World War II. I didn't know about Korea.
Yeah. Well, you learn stuff here
How
about
about
baseball.
my favorite, Ty Cobb? Did he go to war?
No, he was chasing people that were yelling at him different bad words. He got in trouble for that. All right, let's go to Nick VIP Callus time in 10 seconds. Rowan, you're doing great.
So Andrew McCutchen said some words, and the Pirates, won yesterday. That's not a surprise. But Andrew McCutchen was on the field with Robbie Inspikowski of AT&T Sportsnet, and Robbie was like, "Oh, you guys are in first place now. What does that feel like?" And McCutchen said, "Bro, relax. It's June." I was like, I mean, it made me smile and it made me giggle because
I heard that too.
Right, because he seems so chill about it, about just saying like, "Oh man, relax. It's June." But
No, and then you missed one of the better quotes after that. You remember? He goes, "We play one game at a time, and we just worry about that one game."
Wow, I like that.
He said that right after that.
I like that.
That's the kind
Sorry
of,
to interrupt you,
that's
but
the
So
kind of leadership
whenever-
the Pirates
Yeah.
needed.
so when we think about the teams from 2013 to 15, McCutchen was the face of the franchise, but he was young, talented, but not a whole lot of experience. Started in 2009, and so was only playing for a few years, only for one team. There were a lot of other veterans on the team that they were doing well, but you never really sensed. It was always like, what can the Pirates do next? Because we were all hungry, especially for me, because I was born in a time where the Pirates were terrible. If you didn't know, I didn't see them win a World Series, and they hadn't won a playoff game in my lifetime until 2013. I was 14 when they made the playoffs for the first time in my lifetime. So, right, we all get that. So, there were a lot of people, there were a lot of generations, there were a lot of people that hadn't seen them in the playoffs. And so, I mean, I think we were a hungry city to, finally say, like, hey, go win a World Series, build a team, give us a perennial playoff team. We got one for a few years. But, I mean, I think that was the focus, was just to break the 20-year losing streak. And get in the playoffs and make a mark. It's our time. It's Bucktober. It's all the things you want to say, right? But now we're living in a time where, okay, they had a winning season, didn't make the playoffs in 2018, and they've had, ups and downs and recent downs, and there's been doubts and things. And now McCutchen's back on the team. There's a few more veteran presences in the organization now. There's a lot of young talent to look forward to. The future seems bright. But even when we anticipate the future, 2024 is our year, even when we anticipate where the Pirates could go since they started off the season so strong, it felt so satisfactory to hear that the face of the franchise, the guy that you look up to and you model yourself after, that you should model yourself after if you follow baseball, is saying, hey, it's only June. It gave me Kobe Bryant vibes. Kobe Bryant was notorious for that one press conference where the Lakers were up 2 or 3 games, and the reporter was like, well, hey, aren't you excited? Or is there anything to be happy about? And Kobe Bryant was like, no, job's not finished. And I felt that, and I think that that's the right mentality. I think that the one day at a time approach is an appropriate approach to have with the Pittsburgh Pirates team. I don't think it's necessarily okay to be too hyped up and too over the moon with it all, but I also think that it's not reasonable to be so angry all the time and to be upset. So I like that middle ground of let's just take it a day at a time. May was not pleasant to experience, but they turned that around and they won, according to me, 7 games in a row, but we know it's 6, right? And pending tonight's game. Right, they've won 6 in a row.
They're losing 2-1 right now. Marco just gave us the update.
All right.
But yeah, so they're on a 6-game winning streak. They swept the Cardinals, and nobody necessarily anticipated that to happen. So, enjoy what's going on, but just stay at the one game at a time approach. And I think that a lot of the big sports figures, the leaders that we've seen throughout sports history have kind of had that mentality. And it's nice that McCutchen, after experiencing 4 different teams before coming back to the Pirates, and I'm serious. So when you get all that experience from those other teams and the different atmospheres that each of those other teams had, to come back to Pittsburgh and go, it's one day at a time. It's one day at a time. And with all the other players that we've seen in sports history have that mentality, it's nice to see that somebody on the Pirates does. Somebody who's so influential to Pittsburgh, and it's nice to see that one game at a time mentality is now leading them to a stretch of wins to recover from a month of May where they struggled.
Thank you, Nick.
And that's why I'm wearing the Philly hat to honor McCutcheon when he played for Philly.
Yeah, well, how long did he play for Philly? What year? Can you tell me exactly?
Last year, right?
All right.
Hey,
No, he did not.
we're
He played for Milwaukee last year.
We're running out of time. We got to ignore Smoking Jim. And one legend in Pittsburgh started the one game at a time when they started winning games, Chuck Noll.
Yes, sir.
And most of us forget it now because, I mock Steeler fans like myself. Win a game, go to the Super Bowl. Lose a game, fire the coaches.
Yeah.
Hence Smoking Jim. All right, let's go 10 seconds on location with me. On location, not much to talk about. Next Tuesday, as I mentioned earlier with the tease when Smoking Jim was talking lightly about baseball, Seton LaSalle AA champs will be in the studio next Tuesday. We're going to live stream it, so I'll tell Billy Lanero and people that their fans and families can watch it live stream on Pittsburgh Sportsline channel. Please subscribe to our channel. We're only at 112. So we need a little boost there.
113.
Oh, we hit one more.
We got an extra one.
Woo! Thank you, whoever you are. I appreciate you. So please subscribe to it. We'll be doing it on Pittsburgh Sportsline Facebook, Nick, and
YouTube.
And YouTube. And then we got Monsville Prison coming up in August for fighting at the haunted prison. So we can't wait for that. And we got about 5 more minutes. I wanted to bring up about NBA and the Joker. They thought he's invincible, and Miami showed some grit and beat them in the second game. So the series is 1-1, and they're going down to Miami. And Miami's been a resilient team like the Florida Panthers have been. So we'll see what happens in the NBA. And I'm looking at the NHL Stanley Cup. I think it's over. I think, the Golden Knights are just that much better player-wise and depth-wise.
Well, you know what? There was a time where they, the Florida Panthers were down pretty substantially, I believe 3-1 to the Boston Bruins. So they do have it in them.
Yes.
Last night.
I don't know if it's left in them, though.
Well, there's a reason why they play them.
Yeah.
But,
I can't wait to watch it.
Here's an interesting little tidbit.
Lay it out there.
Okay. The city of Boston is the only city to have 2 teams lose in the conference finals in a Game 7 at home this year. The Boston Bruins lost in Game 7 to Florida, and the Celtics lost in Game 7 to the Miami Heat.
Wow.
Yeah.
After being down 3-0.
Wow.
Great.
Almost as bad as Philadelphia last year, not only losing the World Series, losing the soccer championship, losing the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Chief just said, great job, guys. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
We appreciate all of you watching our show. We still got about 3 minutes and 38 seconds. And we just appreciate all of you guys watching, your input here. You watch us live and live streaming, so that's all important.
So, let me bounce a couple of questions off my young friend Nick. Looking at the way that the Pirates have been playing their outfield lately, now it appears that, because of the dynamics of PNC Park, they've got Brian Reynolds playing left and they've had Jack Sawinski playing center field. I've been noticing that they've been substituting Sawinski with Bay.
Bay's my guy. I like Bay.
And here's the dilemma that I think could be problematic for the Pirates, and this is down the road. But put Sawinski in right, put Bay in center, keep Reynolds in left.
He plays a nice left.
Then you have McCutcheon as your DH, okay, which is what he's been doing,
right?
And he's been fulfilling that role. Now, where that becomes problematic is right now the Pirates' best option at shortstop is Tupaquita Meccano, okay?
Yeah.
He's their best shortstop right now. O'Neill Cruz will be back.
He's coming.
Will come back. Rodolfo Castro has been good at the plate, but he's been a little bit of a problem in the field.
Yes.
So do you move O'Neill put O'Neill at short, move Marcano to second, then what do you do with Rudy Castro? Because his bat needs to be in that lineup.
Ah, definitely.
So there's
What do you
some
do,
interesting problems that the Pirates could have. Now somebody gets injured, then that changes the dynamic of everything.
Exactly.
If I had to say, based on what I know and the experience that I've had, what they've done so far, I think they would. I hate to say it, they would send Marcano back.
And that would be heartbreaking because that young man is a ball player.
Yeah.
He belongs on that field.
And I heard his story that he had to work on his stance and his hitting last year.
Well, actually,
and look what he's done.
If O'Neill Cruz comes back in August and they send down Marcano for a month, they could bring him back with one of the 2 extra players they get when the roster expands. So it's not the end of the world. I don't think they're going to give up on Castro. They want to get all they want to out of Castro before they make a decision on him in the offseason.
Right.
That's my assessment.
Right, because it doesn't appear that he's going to be a Gold Glover.
No.
But
And what do you do with G-Man Choi when he comes back too? Because he was supposed to be the DH.
he was
split
supposed
with
to.
Santana.
How do you sit
G-Man Choi.
How do you sit Carlos Santana,
man.
who is arguably one of the best defensive first basemen in the National League?
You don't. So there are a lot of options. But
Hey, I want
Marcano's probably not
to
going to survive.
talk about Bay and his speed and his defense in the outfield. How about how fast he is?
He covers a lot of ground.
He does, and he goes from first to third. One of the fastest I've seen in
telling
years.
you what, he runs like a lightning bolt.
Yeah, he is. That's how Urkel was in his younger age, a.k.a. Smoking Jim. He was fast, they said.
But these are some nice problems for the Pirates to have. Though,
Sure,
don't you
options
think?
are good.
Last year they couldn't find enough people to field a major league lineup.
Well, I want to go on record that I've watched more games in April, May, and now June than I've watched in 3 years. So I say go Bucks. I don't know who the owner is. Please stay Joey Strong.
This is deep, and he did it again! Sawinski wins it for the Pirates!
Frank Fanera, owner of Olive Oil's Pizzeria and the Hillcrest Shopping Center on Route 88. Call them at 412-831-1900. Every Tuesday night, Olive Oil's Pizzeria provides the host and the amazing volunteer crew with an XL pepperoni pizza and a full steak hoagie. They are delicious. Olive Oils is proud to support Pittsburgh Sportsline and the volunteers at BPTV.